4th, 2021, commending the Virginia State Police. Whereas on January 6, 2021, members of the Virginia State Police from throughout the Commonwealth mobilized and responded to the attack on the United States Capitol building, and whereas prior to the ceremonial counting of Electoral College votes by a joint session of the United States Congress, the Virginia State Police coordinated with other law enforcement agencies to monitor intelligence reports and address potential threats, and whereas on the day of the count, the Virginia State Police prepared 71 troopers from Division 7 Fairfax office to respond to any immediate incidents in Fairfax County or Northern Virginia, while the Division 2 Culpeper office placed a quick reaction platoon of an additional 60 troopers on call in the event of an emergency. And whereas at approximately 2:20 p.m., the Metropolitan Police Department of the District of Columbia, acting on behalf of the United States Capitol Police, requested assistance, and the Virginia State Police relocated the troopers from the Fairfax office to Arlington County to await further instructions. And whereas law enforcement officers at the Capitol estimated that there were 75,000 attendees for the Stop the Steal gathering around the building, and as the count continued, members of the rally turned violent and broke through barricades, with hundreds of insurrectionists ultimately breaching doors and windows to enter the building and storm congressional offices and chambers. And whereas after the Virginia State Police received a formal request for 200 troopers, the platoon from Fairfax deployed to the Capitol grounds, and an additional 100 troopers from the Richmond and Chesapeake divisions were activated and responded promptly with no forewarning. And whereas the troopers from Fairfax were led through underground passageways to the lower west terrace, where rioters, many of whom were armed, were attempting to breach the doors to the Capitol building. And whereas members of the Virginia State Police, the United States Capitol Police, and the Metropolitan Police Department courageously engaged the rioters, clearing the first level of the inauguration stage in the face of extreme violence and aggression. And whereas members of the Virginia State Police and the other law enforcement agencies maintained the initiative and pushed the rioters down to the second level of the inauguration stage and away from the Capitol. And whereas, after the engagement, the Virginia State Police established a defensive perimeter at the west entrance to the Capitol building, no state troopers were injured while retaking the building. And whereas executive and command staff of the Virginia State Police established an incident command center at the Area 45 Arlington office, and troopers from the counties of Appomattox, Chesapeake, Culpeper, and Fairfax, and the cities of Richmond and Salem helped provide 24-hour security until January 8, 2021, when complete control of the Capitol grounds was restored. And whereas the Virginia State Police ably served the nation and responded to an extraordinary situation with the utmost distinction, demonstrating courage, composure, fortitude, and a strong commitment to safeguarding the founding ideals and institutions of the United States. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the House of Delegates, the Senate concurring, that the General Assembly hereby commend the Virginia State Police for its performance above and beyond its duties during the attack on the United States Capitol building on January 6, 2021, and be it further resolved that the Clerk of the House of Delegates prepare a copy of this resolution for presentation to the Virginia State Police as an expression of the General Assembly's admiration for its professionalism during this unprecedented incident. Madam Speaker, continuing with the second resolution, House Joint Resolution number 713, agreed to by the House February 4th, 2021, commending the Virginia National Guard. Whereas in January 2021, members of the Virginia National Guard from throughout the Commonwealth mobilized and responded to the attack on the United States Capitol building, and whereas during the ceremonial counting of Electoral College votes by a joint session of the United States Congress on January 6, 2021, Law enforcement officers at the Capitol estimated that 75,000 attendees of the Stop the Steal gathering surrounded the building, and whereas, as the count continued, participants turned violent and broke through barricades with hundreds of insurrectionists ultimately breaching doors and windows to enter the Capitol building and storm congressional offices and chambers in response to a request for assistance from Mayor Muriel E. Bowser, Governor Ralph S. Northam authorized the Virginia National Guard to deploy to Washington, D.C., and whereas on January 7th, the Virginia National Guard quickly mustered personnel, many of whom unexpectedly had to leave their families and full-time jobs, and departed for Washington, D.C. to provide security at the United States Capitol. Approximately 2,000 Virginia National Guard personnel had deployed to the area by the following weekend. And whereas Virginia National Guard personnel integrated with the local law enforcement security plan to protect property and safeguard local residents and government officials remaining on duty through the presidential inauguration on January 20th. And whereas, in addition to the deployment to Washington, D.C., the Virginia National Guard has played a critical role in the Commonwealth's response to the COVID-19 pandemic during 2020 and 2021 by distributing personal protective equipment to frontline workers and assisting the Virginia Department of Health with the planning, logistics, and administration of COVID-19 vaccinations. And whereas the Virginia National Guard ably served the Commonwealth and the nation and responded to an extraordinary situation with the utmost distinction, demonstrating courage, composure, fortitude, and a strong commitment to safeguarding the founding ideals and institutions of the United States. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the House of Delegates, the Senate concurring, that the General Assembly hereby commend the Virginia National Guard for its performance above and beyond its duties during and after the attack on the United States Capitol building on January 6, 2021, and be it resolved further that the Clerk of the House of Delegates prepare a copy of this resolution for presentation to the Virginia National Guard as an expression of the General Assembly's admiration for its professionalism during this unprecedented event.
Delegate Helmer.
Madam Speaker, I'm joined on the floor today from the Virginia State Police, Colonel Gary T. Settle, Superintendent of the Virginia State Police, Lieutenant Neil Johnson, Sergeant Allison Hoy, Trooper Armando Santiago, Trooper Donovan Johnson, Trooper Michael McSellers. And from the Virginia National Guard, Kathleen Jabbs, the Acting Secretary of Veterans and Defense Affairs, Jonathan Ward, the Assistant Secretary of Veterans and Defense Affairs, Major General Timothy Williams, the Adjutant General of the Commonwealth. Madam Speaker, on January 6, 2021, an armed mob of right-wing extremists conducted a premeditated attack on Washington, D.C., egged on by politicians who had renounced their oaths of office. They defiled the temple of our democracy, the U.S. Capitol. They attacked, wounded, and killed Capitol Police. They forced lawmakers and their staffs to seek refuge. They defiled the sacrosanct counting of votes in a free and fair election. And in this moment of darkness, our Virginia State Police and our Virginia National Guard were a beacon of light, responding to the call of their nation, holding dear their oaths to defend our Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. They heeded the call despite the fact that many of them had the right to be weary, having conducted long nights on patrol, having deployed to Iraq, having responded to natural disasters, having helped with the COVID-19 response. They did not complain. They did their duty. They ensured the transition of power to the duly elected President of the United States. And then citizen soldiers troopers one and all. They returned to their homes, to their jobs,